moment, but I realized I have gone all day. It's like 6:23 over here in Texas, and I've gone all day having only eaten applesauce. It's not intentional, but this is what happens for me when I am like in the zone or really trying to like focus on the things that I want to get done, is I forget to eat. And I only realize when suddenly I start to get like a headache, or I start to get like lightheaded, and I start to get really moody, because the one I kind of like, me and my best friend make jokes about this. Like, my best friend, she gets she'll get moody if she's tired, if she's really tired, whereas I get very moody if I'm hungry. So like, my friends all kind of understand, like, you know, keep VNIX fed. Otherwise, you know what I mean, he's gonna be really not up for doing anything. So my partner actually was really sweet enough to make some pasta and meatball. Well, I made the meatballs, and then he made some pasta with some sauce to kind of make a meal before he left. He actually left. He's in Dallas with his friend right now, who is putting on a showcasing of his clothing, and he's getting ready for that, and he went down to help him. I think he's also contributing to a piece, which is pretty cool. You can check out his Instagram, Naturist of Ink. Naturist of Ink. If I got that wrong by any marker, just visit my Instagram, VNIX Music, and just look under who I follow, and you'll see. But he does calligraphy, and he is doing calligraphy on a outfit, so it's gonna be pretty cool. He just showed me what it's looking like so far, and it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty cool. But anyway, he made this so I would have a meal for the next couple days before he comes back on like Monday. And in my head, I'm like, is this because he has an inkling that I'm not probably going to be eating very much or remembering to eat very much? So anyway, this is what I'm making right now. And, you know, acidic things like tomato sauce aren't really good for the vocals, so I can't promise that my vocals are going to sound particularly in good shape tonight, but I said I would do this, like take you guys behind the scenes, so I'm gonna keep my word. I'm just not gonna like it at the same time. The other thing too that I'm like obsessed with, Clean. So there's this brand called Clean. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. I'm not sponsored. They do not sponsor. I don't do any sponsorship. I mean, if you look at like my my accounts, you can see like I'm nobody. Like nobody really knows me. I would say from everything I've researched about the company, I wouldn't mind doing a sponsorship, because I really love the lemon lime. I'm obsessed with the lemon lime, so it's like the only flavor I buy now. I've tried them all. This is the one that I love. But I have like a very particular way of drinking it. I really love doing this thing. This is probably where my OCD is coming into play, but so I use this and I pour. I'm just laughing at the fact that this is like so uninteresting content. Watch me make a drink. But I pour the drink in here, and then I use agave nectar. This is Central Market from HEB, and I do about like 3-4 twirls, and then I use this. You say it's a cock. And I mix it lightly so I don't, you know, get rid of all of the sparklingness of the water. And then I pour it back in, and then I put it in the freezer, like right up against where the cold comes out. And I still don't know the exact timing, but so I just periodically will check on it because I like to get it slushy. That is my favorite way to drink this, is the slush version. It is so good. And then I put like a straw in it. So if you ever see me drinking a straw from this, it's because I kind of have to. Like, it'll be slushified, and if I don't use the straw and I try to drink from here, like, basically all I'm doing at that point is just sucking the liquid from the ice parts, and then it's just a clump of ice blocking the hole to drink from. So yeah, so that's what I do. I love, it tastes so good this way. And I love the lemon lime because I love lemonade. I love lemonade. I love it. I really do. There's something really refreshing about it. Just realized I didn't pour all of this back in. Getting distracted. But I love lemonade. And it doesn't boast well for my, I have bad acid reflux. And as a singer, that's like the last thing you want to deal with. But I can't help it. I love like acidic-y kind of stuff. Like I love tomato sauce, obviously, with pasta, and I love, oh, cherry tomatoes. Oh man, there is this tomato sauce, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's one of my favorites because it has like pieces of fennel in it, and it has cherry tomatoes, like whole cherry tomatoes in it, and when you bite into it, this burst of like sweetness comes out, and it just cuts everything else, every other ingredient that's in this tomato sauce, and it's just amazing. It's so good. Really love it. The fuck was I just talking about? Oh, lemonade. So I like lemonade, and what I'll do every summer for the most part is I'll make lemonade either for like me and my partner or for like my friends. And one that I really love to make is kiwi lemonade. Like when you go out in the world to get lemonade, there are certain flavors that you just never see. And whenever I would go to like the produce section and I would see the kiwi, as a child growing up, I used to love kiwi a lot. And I think it was because it was very cheap and it's so satisfying, and it had like a sour tang flavor to it, and I love like soury kind of flavors. And I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just make my own lemonades, and I'm gonna make them with all the fruit that I never see anybody choose, because they always go to like the typical ones. Strawberry, raspberry, and like blueberry. Those are like the main ones that they'll go to, and then obviously the mother of them all, which is literally just lemonade. So me and my partner have been like having a lot of fun each year making different types of lemonade. The kiwi one is so good. Kiwi one is so good. I've like perfected that now. We did a dragon fruit lemonade. That one was actually like very refreshing. We didn't think we didn't think there would be any taste to it, because I don't know if y'all have ever eaten dragon fruits and like analyzed the flavor. The flavor is like there's no flavor. It's just like eating like water. You know what I mean? There's a slight sweetness. So to me, it just comes off like dragon fruit, like just sugared water. But when you take a lot of it and you blend it down, I feel like that's when more of the actual flavor, I feel like it's just a little bit more perceptive. I don't know the word I'm looking for right now. I feel I'm able to like recognize the subtle, distinct flavors that make up dragon fruit separate from other fruit. That's what I'm trying to say, but there's a word. So we did that. We did pineapple lemonade. We did We did peach lemonade. We did nectarine lemonade. Watermelon lemonade. We did melon, cantaloupe lemonade. I don't know if we tried, we might have tried papaya. We literally have tried so many. We would just like walk in the produce section and we'd walk past a fruit and be like, maybe? And then we just buy and try. And a lot of them are really good. In my opinion, it's like hard for lemonade to like not be good. Ugh. I should probably shut the light off. All right. So this is my work desk. I've already shown in one of the other videos, but here it is again for anyone that didn't watch those previous ones. I do want to, oh gosh, I just want to give a disclaimer. If you ever hear me repeat things that I already shared in a video or have already like told you about multiple times, please forgive me, because the minute I'm done a video, I don't watch it, because I just upload it. I just let it be, because I know that that's the most honest recording that you can get, with all of the and and like, what am I talking about, and you know what I mean, and that's just more human, you know. And then if I remove a video, it's usually because like I'm over judging myself about something. But I do probably repeat myself a lot of times, because when I come into like a video, I don't remember the last video that I did, and I treat each video like I just try to be present in each video. And so if something comes up that feels relevant to what I'm talking about or what I'm sharing, then, you know, you might hear something repeat. Like, I know I have been mentioning my disabilities a lot. One is because, like, I don't remember what I shared about them in other videos, but also to, like, when it comes to my disabilities, I have gone so long, and I mean so long, years, not knowing what disabilities I have been struggling with. And as a result of that, I would just think that there was always something wrong with me, and that I'm the problem, and I am just terrible or lazy or distracted, or just so much judgment. And I think that's a common trope for anybody who has a disability before they learn that they have a disability and what it actually is and what the symptoms of it are. There's a lot of that self-judgment. There's also that judgment from the world, you know, because there's so many people out in the world that literally will argue, make fun of, and try to make claims that certain disabilities aren't real. You know, like ADHD is still something that people are fighting against. And I know that there's other philosophies out there from some doctors who believe that ADHD is more a childhood trauma symptom. And I'm not deep diving into that stuff as a doctor, because I'm not a doctor. And I'm an artist, so I don't really have time for that. Because that's not where my interests mainly lie in terms of how I want to construct my entire life day to day. So who knows? Who knows? It could be, you know? Like, there's a certain doctor, I forget his name, but he talks about how it might be a childhood coping mechanism. And I have to say a lot of his arguments, they're not arguments, they're just like his research. You know what I mean? There are some things that resonate, and I know that I've come from a childhood that was not good. So there is possibly something to that. I don't know. All I do know is that regardless if these things are legit disabilities or they're just childhood trauma things, whatever it is, they are still real, and it's still something I deal with as well as other people, and it's still there's a lot of symptoms that affect my life, and I work very, very, very hard to not let them steal from me. Meaning, let me rephrase that, like not letting my disabilities rob my sense of self-worth, how I think about myself. So I'm always doing a lot of emotional intelligence work. I'm in therapy. I was in group therapies for certain abuses and traumas I've been through. So there's a lot of things like that. Also, books I've read, certain doctors or psychologists or counselors I would follow and look into or read their books or their articles or whatever, to kind of just get a sense of like how can I hack my own brain? How can I overcome these disabilities? Because I don't want them to get in the way of how I view myself, you know? Because going my whole life without knowing that I had ADHD and how severe it was, it really just created the incubation, like the mental incubation chamber for me to just believe everybody else's accusations about me. Oh, you're lazy, you're sensitive, you're this and that. A lot of that would be coming from my family, and it's like that plays with your mind after you hear things like that for so many years. And especially when my life and the choices I was making for a long period of time really reflected the opposite of that. Like I would work very, very hard. I remember one job that I had where I worked for a kickboxing studio. There was a point in time where I was just working 7 days a week. And I didn't do that to prove anything. I did that because I really loved and respected the people that I worked with, and I really wanted to help them and help their success. And I also understood that there was a benefit for me as well in terms of me making more money, which I needed. I really, at that time in my life, I really wanted to live on my own. I really wanted to get my own apartment. So I was like, if I have to work myself to the bone to be able to actually afford that and still afford the things that I need for like recording stuff, then all right. So like when I was much younger, I had so much of that energy to do that kind of stuff and make those sacrifices that now in my 30s, I'm like, I don't think that's healthy. And I don't think that the system is healthy for creating a structure that kind of doesn't really leave us much choice, but to sacrifice so much of our youth. And what I mean by that is when we are literally at our best, when we look our best, when we have our best energy, our best sense of discipline or sense of adventure, like, you know, when you're young in your teens to 20s, that's when you are literally at you are just radiating the most that you probably will for any other point in your life. You know, like the energy that I had in my 20s compared to now in my 30s is so vastly different. My tolerance for bullshit is so vastly different. Like before, I put up with so much. Now I don't. Now, if there's bullshit, I call it out immediately. I don't have time for that. If somebody's lying or deceiving to me, call it out. I don't have time for that. If someone's being rude to me, if I'm dysregulated because, you know, one of my or multiple of my disabilities are kind of interacting not so well together, then I might react. you know what I mean? But for the most part, if people are like being rude to me and stuff like that, I'll just ignore them because I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Back then I would have cared, but now I'm getting to a place where I'm like, you know what? I've learned so much about who I am, what I've been through. I've worked really hard to overcome mistakes that I have made in myself, because that's the only place that I can actually do anything, you know, because that's the only control I have is over myself, right? So I've worked really hard, and I've gotten to this point where I'm not going to let some person or multiple people out in the world with their own opinions and narratives of me when they don't actually know me. I'm not going to let that really affect me too much, because it's like, you know, you're allowed to have your opinion of me, and that's fine. Doesn't mean it's true. So anyway, why was I talking about that? Right, I was saying all of this because, like, with my disabilities, it's like I don't want them to rob my sense of self-worth, how I feel about myself, because that's very important. Like, self-worth, I didn't have that for so long in my life, and it's so important to cultivate that in yourself, not narcissistically. You do not want to be cultivating narcissistic ego in yourself, because that's not healthy. But a sense of self-care, like that kind of healthy narcissism of like, I need to take care of myself, otherwise I'm not going to show up in the world healthy. I'm not going to be showing up in my relationships, my friendships healthy. You know what I mean? Because this is the vehicle that drives me everywhere. You know what I mean? My emotions, my mind, my body. So it's like, if I'm not being kind and loving and disciplined with all of that, you know what I mean? Then that's where mistakes get made, and I suffer those consequences of those, you know what I mean? And after so much time with that, you know, like having this poor view of myself because of how other people put me down all the time, and then convinced me to believe that when I was too young to think for myself, you know what I mean? It messed with my ability to find anything redeemable in myself. And that does not give one the energy, the motivation, the spirit to wake up each day and be excited to get out of bed and start the day, or to go towards a goal and believe that it's going to be tough, but I can do this and I'm going to accomplish this. Like, it doesn't create that sense of energy and spirit that's necessary. It depresses you, it flattens you. You know what I mean? It's probably a big factor as to why I suffer with major depressive disorder, because of my childhood. So with all of that said, you know, I think the conversation around disabilities that you are particularly struggling with, I think can be very healthy for other people who may have them, to hear, to see, oh, these don't have to hold me back. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard. It's probably going to be very hard. My journey, still to this day, is extremely difficult. But there are things I really want to do for my own personal achievement, for the expression of myself and my spirit, to leave something behind that I hope has a positive impact in the world, you know, through these things that I create. So I'm fighting my disabilities every day, because I'm not really medicated for them, except for the major depressive disorder that I'm medicated for right now. I think I take Wellbutrin. Obviously, this is so overshare. It's just 24 minutes of like, who fucking cares? Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm just some random guy. But I figured before I show the vocals, you know, I might as well. I have to eat before I do this, so I might as well, you know, live stream a little bit, try to connect with the public. Honestly, like, I have to be very blunt that I really do kind of hate social media. I hate that, like, for artists nowadays, it's like if you want to reach people with your music, if you've written a book, you want to reach people with that because you want to make a career out of it. That's specifically, because you want to make a career out of it. I want to make a career out of my music, out of my art. In order to do that, I have to be active on social media, and I hate it. I really don't like it. It's stupid. I love my privacy. The way I'm sharing right now, oversharing, this is how I am in my real life. Like, if you were to meet me in person, this is how I'm gonna be, because I don't know how else to be. Like, I don't know how else to talk or act or whatever. This is me. You know what I mean? I'm not ashamed to talk about who I am, what I struggle with, what I went through. I'm not ashamed as much as I was before to talk about the mistakes I've made that would make me look like a terrible person, because we all have those. And when we're private, only the people who who you love, are privy to that knowledge, because they see you. They interact with you probably on a daily, if not more consistent basis than anybody in the public would. And anybody in the public who doesn't know me, the only way any of you are going to know me is through your own concept of me. It's your idea of me. My partner showed me this one girl on YouTube. I wish I remembered her name right now. She was talking about that in one of her videos, and she just articulated it very well. Very well. If I remember who it is, I'll try to remember to attach her to the description box, so that way, if you want to check out her videos, you can. But she was articulating that very well, about how don't put power in the people that you're watching and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, think for yourself. Always think for yourself. If you like somebody, if you want to follow them, that's fine, but don't follow them. Support them. Supporting them is different than following them, because all of you guys don't have to be followers. You don't have to be sheep. You don't have to be anything like that. You can think for yourself, but it's very dangerous to do that sometimes, because what you will most likely find is that a lot of your discoveries are not always going to be status quo, which means that you are going to be dismantled. People are going to want to attack you, cancel you. You know what I mean? Because we're not robots. We're human beings. We have our own experiences, and we process things in our own perception of them, And these perceptions are not necessarily right or wrong. You know what I mean? Because none of us can literally put ourselves in somebody else's experience of life. I will only know my own mind, and I can listen to other people and open myself up with empathy to try and understand. But no matter the efforts I make there, just like no matter the efforts any of us make doing that, we will never know what it means to be that person, to operate in their body, to navigate the experiences that they've navigated, to be in the mechanism of their brain and how their brain perceives things or makes sense of things because of who they are and how they grew up and everything that influenced that, the different environments, the different people. There's so much, the different information that they were exposed to or discovered themselves. Like, there is so much that influences us and truly makes us all completely nuanced individuals from each other. No one is the same. No one is the same. So, fuck, I'm forgetting where I was going with that. The idea of me. So you'll have an idea of me, but you don't know me. You know what I mean? Like, and I love my privacy because I mean, my entire life was me being scapegoated in various situations with people who were taking advantage of me. And because of that reason, I've had a gargantuan fear of putting myself out there. And the more and more people did those things to me, the more and more it made me afraid to put myself out there. And anyone that's been following my career might have noticed large blips in me putting myself out there and then kind of like disappearing. And that's what's going on, is like the mental anguish and struggle with these opposite things, where it's like, I want to make a career out of this because I want to be able to like pay my bills and financially support myself doing what I love and make enough to maybe support other people that I love. But in order to do that, I have to betray the part of me that seriously needs and yearns and wants its privacy for good reason. Because that's all the internet does nowadays, is just scapegoat everybody, cancel them, attack them, act like they know them, make 4,000 videos from 4,000 people where they're like, this person is this and this person's this. And it's like, you don't know this person. You're just like collecting details, sparse details, and you're connecting your own dots and then acting as if you do know them, when really you're just probably making things worse for that person, also for yourself, because now you're injecting yourself into this drama. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to deal with that, because it's all bullshit. Like, it's all bullshit. You know what I mean? But that's why, you know, I've been really working on how I ground myself in who I am and who I'm becoming and who I want to be, and allowing myself the freedom to do that, to be that. Because at the end of the day, I know my intentions, I know the context of things, I know who I am, I know what I'm trying to do, and whatever anybody else wants to say, you know, that's outside of my control. I don't have any control over that. You know what I mean? So all I can really do is just try to ground myself in who I am and what I know of myself and the situations that I'm in each day, and just stay grounded in that, and understand, like, okay, I accept that you're going to feel how you feel and make sense of these things, or of myself, as however you want to. That's your idea of me. That's your narrative. Narratives and ideas and concepts, they're not truth. They're just perceptions. You know what I mean? So whoever you need me to be in your narrative to make a point to yourself or to somebody else or whatever, that is all you. Because I'm working to accept myself, ground myself in who I am. And, you know, if people want to say shit about me, okay, that's okay, because you're allowed to. And that's kind of like the mentality that I've been like really working to get myself into, even more so after I had made that that video about the pastor who was like saying things about gay people. I had so many comments. Some of them were so funny. There was like this one woman who, I think it's still up. I forget what she said. She was saying something like, "Oh, we know." She was acting as if like I was trying to be not gay, like I was trying to act not gay, and I thought that was very interesting, because it's like, okay, clearly the world that this girl lives in and what she's been exposed to, she seems to be under the impression that gay people are very much only like one shape and color. You know what I mean? Like, they are the stereotype of like having a very feminine voice, feminine mannerisms. And there are gay people who are like that, and that's whatever, that's them. There are also gay people who are like myself, who might come across more masculine. But it's not that I'm coming across more masculine, it's just that I'm just me. And if that is more masculine, it's like, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, my father was very masculine. My father was very alpha. So that was my example of a guy growing up. So obviously I learned and adapted, and it wasn't because I was like secretly feminine and like trying to like hide that and repress that. It's like, no, this is me. This is my voice. This is how my voice is. And I'm, you know, if it disappoints you because it's not very feminine, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, welcome to the world. It's not what you always think it is, you know. It's nuanced. It is nuanced. There's no such thing as just like a blank template of somebody. It's, I mean, not a blank template, like a very specific template for people. You know what I mean? Because then you're seeing people as groups. People aren't groups. People aren't groups. Groups are just a coming together of a shared commonality. That's it. But everybody that's in those groups, they're still individuals. They're not going to agree or think the same way as the more dominant concept or narrative or perspective that these groups might try to hold or put pressure on people to enforce or whatever. Everybody's individuals and they're nuanced, and that's why it's so important to like talk with individuals, you know what I mean, outside of groups and outside of commonalities, because, you know what I mean, it's like, just because I have a commonality with you doesn't mean that I am going to connect with you, doesn't mean that we're going to get along, doesn't mean that I think or agree with the things that you think or agree with. It doesn't mean any of that, because we're all our own person. You know what I mean? So the most that we can ever do is just try to connect, try to talk, you know, and try to learn, who are you? Who are you? What do you think, and why do you think that way? How did you get there into those thoughts? And just being curious about it rather than angry and you know, looking for something that you can like get someone with. It's like, why? That's predatory in a way, you know what I mean? Trying to set traps for prey. You know what I mean? It's like, just talk with people. You know what I mean? I'm just rambling. I'm rambling at this point. So, yes, I have disabilities, and despite them, I'm working to like not have them stop me from trying to achieve the things I want to achieve. You know, it might take me a lot longer to do that because of them, but fuck, man, it's like, what other choice do I have other to not do them? And it's like, you know, brings me incredible fulfillment and joy to make music, because it's really all I know. I only really know how to create. That is like my greatest gift. That's my greatest learned skill or attribute, is creating things. So, trying to make a career out of it, just like each of you watching are trying to make a career out of whatever you're trying to make a career out of, you know? So, all right, thanks for listening. I will be back on to show you vocals.